Alright folks, I'm sure you've already seen the posting, the motor for sale, so I'm going to show you a little video of it, give you a little walkthrough of the motor itself. Here it is on the chassis. Right now it's on a 61 Ford F100 chassis. It too could be for sale. I've mocked the motor up on the frame here. Well, I've mounted the motor on the frame and hooked up a radiator and the high-tech gas line into the gas can here, and overflow tube off the radiator, water lines. Got a fan on the radiator there. Water temp gauge is hooked up here. Oil pressure line is hooked up. Got all the wires to the coil. I fired this thing up yesterday and got her dialed in as far as the timing and everything. Got a little color to the headers there. That's just VHT paint that's been baked on. But got no leaks. I had already fired it up and broke in the cam, dumped out that oil, and changed the filter, put new oil in with more ZDDP. When I fired it up yesterday, had no leaks, no issues, ran great. 80 pounds of oil pressure at an idle. The center carburetor started to ice up. The phenolic spacers that I made here obviously work fantastic because yeah, the base of the carburetor, it's progressive linkage, so you've got the single carburetor working until it hits right here on this rod, and then it gets the other two going. Anyway, yeah, it works fantastic. The carburetors have all been gone through completely, as well as the rest of the motor. The two outside carbs, as you can see on the inside carb here, it's got the adjustments here for the idle air mixture. Those have been deleted off the outside carbs. They are strictly secondaries. You've got primary here, and then once you get to the correct spot on the throttle rod here, then it goes from 2 barrels to 6 barrels. These are just in here to stop dust from falling in. You can look down inside the carburetors there. Everything's been gone through. Every single screw, you name it, it's all been done. Every piece. Those are MagnaCore 8.5 millimeter wires. It's got electronic ignition. I'm trying to think of things to tell you about it. Obviously the breather comes out. Instead of it having a standard breather, I've got it going into the header here to where it scavenges the gases. The engine is set up that if you were going to go full race with it, I have a vacuum fitting that fits in here so that it's a completely sealed crankcase. At that point, then you can run either a vacuum pump, or at high enough RPM you're going to create enough vacuum at the headers to draw out the intake, or the crankcase gases, causing a vacuum which will actually give you more than 100% of your combustion mixture into the engine. There's the bell housing. It's got a Fidanza 12.5 pound flywheel. Bell housing, and the 3-speed tranny has been rebuilt. All new synchros in it. It's got the big splines. There's two different styles of the 3 speeds. One's got little splines for a passenger car, and one's got the big splines for. I'm talking about the insides, not on the tail shaft. It's got the big splines for heavy duty applications, so it should hold up, but no guarantees. This is a lot of motor. Everything internally has been done to the engine that can be done, as far as the modified oiling at the front, at the cam, the timing gear, chain, roller chain. I've got the extra oiling hole up there. Got the groove behind the number 3 cam bearing so that you're getting constant oil to the top. Pressurized system at the rockers, and that's a 1/16 hole to going to the rockers so that you're not sending all the oil to the top end, so you don't starve the bottom end. But with the amount of oil pressure this thing's pushing, it's got a. I've blueprinted the stock oil pump. Stock oil pump is right down here. You can see it. It's been blueprinted, and at 80 pounds at an idle, I don't think we have any issues as far as oiling goes. I don't have a. I'm not putting a fan on it. I didn't put. That's, you know, if a person wants to put a fan on it, they can. But these electric fans, they work fantastic. So I don't think a person really needs to add an extra fan. If you would like to take a look, I'll walk over here and try not to trip over anything. I'll pull out the dipstick, and that clear wet stuff is the oil. It's right there between the add and the full line. As you can see, there's the line there. That oil is as clean as it can be. That is 5 quarts. It's right there between the add and the full line. I don't feel I need to fill it all the way up to the full line, but that's kind of a personal opinion. It runs Autolite racing plugs on it. It's all in the build sheet. If you look at the build sheet, you'll pretty much learn everything that I'm not telling you. I will go ahead and fire up this motor. It is stone cold right now. And I'll turn the key on. I like building motors. I'm not a woodsmith, so don't give me crap about my little test box here. But I'll turn the key on here. Like, I still got 20 pounds of oil pressure. Or else I broke the gauge. It's a cheap gauge. There's no temperature there, 0 RPM. But when I turn the key on, then I can turn the fan on. And I will shortly here have my camera woman, when she gets out of the shower, we will fire this thing up. At the end of the fuel rail, as you can see the fuel system, how it comes from the pump up to the regulator into a nice canister style filter, feeds into the log here, and that's a nice little piece of billet that I bought from an outfit. And then at the end I've got a 5-pound pressure gauge, fantastic liquid filled gauge, so I can get real accurate reading as far as my fuel pressure, because these Holley 94s are sometimes cantankerous when it comes to fuel pressure. Yeah, wait until you hear it run. You'll be impressed.